Hi everyone, my name is Haley, and the book that I decided to read is The Jungle by Upton St. Clair. It is a 1906 novel, and the setting of the book is around that time. So it is about a man named Jurgis who decides to take him and his family and immigrate to America in search of the American dream. He arrives and he gets a job and he thinks he's going to be able to support his family and become successful through hard work, but he is met with tragedy and a series of unfortunate events that plummet him into debt and financial crisis. And then he is met with crisis after crisis after crisis after tragedy. And the underlining message is that capitalism is the cause of the cause of his situation, and that because of capitalism, all of these things, tragic events, happened in his life, because each of the events can be traced to greedy capitalism. So the message is that capitalism is a flawed system which leads to suffering, unjust suffering, and only some are able to be wealthy and successful. So, my favorite part of the book, it is a very, very sad book. It's tragic. As I said, it has a lot of tragic events. There's exploitation, there's injuries, there's rape, there's death, you name it. So it's difficult to choose a favorite part, but there was a part in the book where it evoked a lot of emotion out of me. And so even though it's a sad part of the book, I am still going to choose it as my favorite. And I don't want to give too much away, so this is going to be a little vague, but Jurgis's wife has a secret that she's keeping, and it's something that she's doing, but she's doing it for the betterment of the family, but she's also not telling the family about it because she doesn't want to hurt them. So her husband, Jurgis, in this scene that I'm talking about, is trying to get her to tell him like what's going on. And it's a very realistic couple fight. He's yelling at her to tell him, and she's begging him to let it go and let them be happy, let them love each other. And he is, not letting it go. He's screaming, he's hitting things. And, she finally tells him, and he's completely taken back and distraught. But it goes kind of back and forth between, like, stillness almost, or quietness, and then, like, really enraged. It gets physical at one point, he's, like, choking her. But it is a really, really sad part of the book. But it really felt genuine and real to me. It was very well written. So that's why it's my favorite part of the book. And even though it was emotional, I kind of enjoyed it, I guess. I don't know. But that is my favorite part of the book. So did I like the book? Yes, I did. I would recommend it, but I'm one of those people who is a sucker for tragedy and likes to listen to sad music, watch sad movies. So it is dark. And not for everybody. So be prepared if you do decide to read it. But it also has, elements of history in it. 3 in particular that I really noticed. And that is one, of course, immigration. And then the other is, one of the others is that it shows the working conditions of people during this time in factories. And then it also exposes the way that food was carelessly processed and handled in factories as well. And that part of the book actually did affect real history. So that's really interesting, and that's like what the book is mostly known for. And then the third thing is that the author of the book is a advocate for socialism. Obviously, the book is kind of... At the end, Jurgis is also an advocate for socialism, and he is changed by a socialistic message and wants to, wants socialism to better the world. And that was sort of inspirational in that he had lost everything by this point, but he still wanted to better society for other people and other families. Whether or not you believe or socialism does do that, who knows? But it was still kind of nice because a lot of times in political conversations were consumed, but he could have been bitter, but he wanted the best for everyone. Or he wanted other families to not suffer. And that was kind of his social, but it advocates for socialism, and is against capitalism for sure. I chose to relate this into my own lesson via immigration. I wanted to do a younger grade because I have been doing 5th grade in this class, and so I wanted to do a younger grade. So I chose immigration, and I found a standard that aligned with it. And my lesson is a lot happier than the book. It starts out with the students doing a bell ringer where they they answer the question, what is something you like about our country? And so then they would answer that question, we would talk about it, and then we would, maybe relate that, we would relate that to, do you think this might be reasons people would want to come to America? And then after that, I would introduce immigration, and I would be like, what is immigration? They would give their answers, and then we would watch a video after we had a little talk about it. We will watch a video, and in this video, it's a 2-minute video of kids answering questions about immigration. So they answer, what is immigration? And then they talk about some other questions. And it's really short, but it's kids. And so kids talking to kids, I think is good, and it's really cute. So we would watch that. Then we would talk about those questions and answers. And then we would have a little discussion about it. And then we would move to the carpet, and I would read a multicultural book called Abuela, and it's about a grandmother explaining her journey to America. And after the book, we would, of course, discuss it, relate it to immigration, talk about what we learned. And then I would show the students a map, and we would talk about how there's so many different countries and how people can move from all these different countries and have moved from these different countries to America. And that is how we have created this very culturally diverse country that we live in. And to relate to that, I would have them answer a few questions. The questions would be, what are some of your favorite foods? What are some of your favorite holidays? What are some of your favorite sports? And as they answer those, we could talk about, how those foods, some of those foods, I'm assuming like spaghetti. And if they don't, then I will, be like, well, what about spaghetti? Do we like spaghetti? And that's from Italy. And sports and holidays, of course, St. Patrick's Day, So we would talk about those and how immigration, that's the beauty of immigration, brought us all together in a very culturally diverse country. After we have that conversation, then the students will complete a worksheet. It's a 2-sided worksheet. After the worksheet, we'll talk about those answers, go over the worksheet. And finally, as an exit slip, the students would define immigration. So I would say, y'all define immigration on this. What is immigration? Define means write down what is immigration. Then they would write that down. And finally, I would relate this to the next lesson and saying that all of these cultures that we are talking about, well, we're going to get more into detail about that later and in the next lesson. That's what we're going to talk about next. So that is everything. Thank you for watching. I don't know if I said this. So I read this book cover to cover, every word, every page. I hope that works. Thank you.